Good morning, everyone. Well, it's still morning for us in Costa Rica, but for you guys in Eastern Standard Time, it's an afternoon. So, good afternoon to everyone. So, what did we want to talk about today? We're going to dig into meal prep. We're going to dig into the mental load that women have in regards to constantly making the decision of what to cook for dinner. And we've been asking this question, and I asked it on Monday. What is the biggest time? What is the biggest hurdle for a lot of people? Sometimes it's like not the planning, but the execution. Sometimes it's the timing. Then it's like the I don't know what to cook. So we get all of those things. Morning, Lou. We get all these things stuck in our head where it's kind of like, what do I do? How do I do this? So, one of the biggest things, the mistakes that we're making is like, oh, we have to make something different every time. And, it gets exhausting. And I don't know about you guys. I mean, I'm trolling Instagram, Pinterest for recipes all the time. I'm always tweaking them, which is some of the recipes that we bring to you on the last Wednesday of every month. So when we do that, it helps you guys. And also, like, I posed that question yesterday of like, what do you guys make when you're super busy? What is your go-to? So there's some ideas in there too. And guys, as you guys know, Coach Lisa posts the recipes every Tuesday. So there's always like information out there, but sometimes it's that mental block. And I've had the comment of, I can plan, it's the execution that's the problem. So let's look at why. It's a habit. Doing a meal prep is no short of just another habit that needs to be learned and repeated and constantly repeated. So, I mean, I've been doing meal prep and meal planning pretty much since my 20s. And you find the busier you are, it's sometimes it feels like it's too much. It's like, where do I find the time in order to actually do the meal prep? So I want to talk about that today. Is it doesn't have to be, what I do is I'll take like a Saturday and a Tuesday, and I'll spend like 90 minutes in the kitchen, and I prep snacks, I prep salads, like coleslaw. I do the spicy Asian cucumber thing. I'll post the recipe. It's really good, and quick and simple. And then I do another one for carrots. So basically, it's those sliced carrots in a little bit of a marinade. It makes a great side. You can throw it on your salad. Having, hummus available if you're making it from scratch, also great. Personally, down here, I buy it because it's just easier and a little cheaper. And but it's always having that extra. So one of the easier ways to do it is if you're cooking dinner already, you can actually ask your partner to help you, right? So this is the other part that we talk about, is that frustration of like, oh my God, I got to do it all by myself to feed the family. Well, if you've got other people in the house who are also eating, they can step up and they can help. So if you're not vocalizing what your needs are, that's another mental block that you need to address and understand why. Why am I not asking for help? What is it that, I'm doing? Am I looking to be the martyr? Am I, too afraid to speak up? Do I not feel confident enough? Like, what's the reason why you're not saying to your partner or your kids to say, let's go? We're going to make a double batch. So let's say on a Monday night, you're probably not. Monday's usually the busiest night for people, whatever. On that night, you're making two dinners, but now you're going to make two big dinners. So say you're making, I don't know, grilled veggies. Make a double batch. If you're going to do some rice or quinoa or couscous or whatever your starch is, make a double batch. If you're going to do, while you're doing that, throw together like a spaghetti or a lasagna, something that you can have cut up in sections or just in a pan in the fridge. Stuff that you can just quickly grab for lunch. And then you can quickly grab for dinner the next night. And then you've got like a couple of meals out of that. I get that thought process of like, I like my food fresh. Who doesn't? But sometimes that's just not a reality. Sometimes, right, it is what it is. And sometimes you're just going to have to eat leftovers. So I don't know about you guys. I'm a Gen Xer and I grew up in, like, born in the 60s, growing up 70s and 80s. Leftovers were life. That was just it. Like, it wasn't like I've got to cook something different and special and fancy every single night. I've got to come up with like something new. What's to cook for dinner? I mean, we see the social media posts everywhere, and the mental load for most women is so beyond comprehension that it's hard to stay consistent. It's hard to have the energy. It's hard to even give a shit what you want it for dinner. It's just like that. I'm too tired. I just can't. I'm going to order in. And this becomes the cycle, right? So, like, great, going to food prep whatever on Sunday. Food's done by Wednesday, but then this becomes a prep day, right? So then this is again, you're going to double batch everything. Or use a sheet pan, throw like your potatoes, your yams, carrots, all this, like all the nightshade vegetables into the oven. Brussels sprouts, if you like them. I love them, just FYI. And if you don't like them, it's because you're cooking them wrong. I'm just going to stand by that statement. So you can throw these into a sheet pan, put a little olive oil, sprinkle some salt and pepper, throw it in the oven while you're cooking like a stir fry. You've got starchy vegetables, and then you've got your garden fresh vegetables. Same with like if you're going to cook rice in one pot, you may as well cook the couscous in the, or not couscous. I call it that all the time. It's quinoa. Quinoa. I mean, people eat couscous, but quinoa's better for you. It's more nutrient dense, and it makes you stay full faster. And it's a good side for your eggs in the morning. Just an FYI. So this is where also the thought process of what kind of food we have to be eating at certain times of the day. Like I just said, I do quinoa as a side with my eggs in the morning. Sometimes I do my chicken. I don't care. Like, I'm hungry. I want my protein, and in order to get my coffee, I have to have my protein and my breakfast first. So that means some eggs. That means sometimes I do coleslaw on the side. Sometimes I'll do oatmeal. And again, that's a great prep. If you're going to do overnight oats, just get little small containers or one big one, doesn't matter. And you just make a batch. So it's good for 3 days. I say 3 days because even I'm an expert, experienced food prepper, and I don't like to have my food longer than 3 days. So I don't know too many people that do. My daughter, she does. She'll do like 5 days, like flat out, like all her containers are done, breakfast, lunch, and dinner, and she sticks to it, whether she likes it or not. And this is the mindset piece. This is where we have to look at, sometimes you may not love it because you're like, oh, I just ate that, but I'm going to do it again, because really, it's just fuel. It's not like food can be entertainment, but sometimes it's just fuel. And if you're coming home tired on a Wednesday, then it's good. It's done. You don't have to think about it. And this is where we find a lot of the times when women are complaining that they can't lose weight, stay consistent, because they don't have the energy, because the mental load of the decisions that you're trying to make just for around your house, never mind work, just around the house, is exhausting. No wonder it's hard to even contemplate exercise or getting to bed on time or like drinking your water. Like all these fundamentals, like all these things that your body just requires day to day is like, first and foremost, if you don't have the time and energy, nothing else is going to kick in. So this is why, I wrote and I said, one of the things, the biggest mistake that you're thinking is the right thing, is that you have to cook something different all the time. And like I said, I understand the mindset behind it is like, I want fresh food. I want something tasty. So I don't know, you ladies, most of you are Gen Xers. You don't, the whole like, I want. I get it. But you can save that for the weekend when you have a little bit more time and energy to cook something really spectacular. And during the week, whether it's even just 3 or 4 days where you're just like, you know what, this is what I'm going to do. And I'm going to eat what I have for like 3 days. And then I'll make something fresh and different. Even that small little bit, it doesn't have to be prepped the whole week. Sometimes you're just cooking extra. Right? Simplify it. You're not making 2 different dinners at one time. You're making one dinner and you're doubling it. Right? Use 2 pans. Sometimes I've got fresh like stir fries going in 2 pans. Got my wok in my great big pan. And then I'll cook on the fish So I've got for like lunch and then dinner the next day, or like at least, dinner the next day and then the following lunch, however that works out. It doesn't matter. There's no specific rules, but it's just your baby steps, right? So if you're cooking extra, and then you're like, okay, well, maybe for that whole week, you're just going to cook extra that whole week, but something new. And then the extra you put in a Ziploc bag and put it in the freezer. Guess what? The following week, you've got dinners done. You've got free time. However you look at it, in the course of your 30 days of the month, you have some extra time in order to just relax. Okay, so not do more, do less. Because this is the common theme for a lot of people of like, oh, I got to be so busy, I've got to fill all of my time. The idea is we want you to feel more rested so you have more energy so that you can stay consistent in the things that you want to achieve. And if you're going to, free up some time from meal prep and planning, don't fill the time. Relax. Get a good book. I don't know. The new season 3 Reacher's out. Have you seen that man? Takes his shirt off a lot. So good. So this is where we want to move from the plan to the execution. Start small, right? Just cook a little bit extra for like your dinner. That becomes your lunch, right? That's one less meal that you have to think about. And then as you grow, right, next dinner, again, make it bigger so that you can have some leftovers for dinner the next day. Add a fresh protein, chicken, whatever. Throw it in the air fryer, throw it in the oven. I don't know. Do some breaded fish, however that looks for you. But, ask the family for help. And this is where a lot of women, and I hear this, I've had these conversations with women, and they're like, oh, like, what do your teenagers do? What does your spouse do? And they're like, well, nothing. And then they're frustrated, angry, and, have no time for themselves. And then the weight goes up, and then you're exhausted because you're not sleeping. And then, there's this vicious cycle of like, well, my weight's already up. I may as well enjoy this glass of wine and this chocolate. Not that there's anything wrong with that. 80-20 rule. So, but it's like, it's a slippery slope, right? It's never just one. So if you're constantly tired and frustrated and exhausted, speak up. And if you're having a problem with that, you guys know you can book like a free turbo call and we can do a strategy plan with you guys. It's 15 minutes. Quite simple. To like figure out what is a good strategy for you, whether if that's what it is about execution for meal planning. Because it comes, like I said in the very beginning, it becomes a habit. And like all things habit, it takes time to get used to doing it and making the extra food or making the extra meal or spending, your time for 90 minutes prepping sides. Doesn't have to be the main dish, it just be the sides. So, if you want to cut up all of your lettuce and wash it, it's ready to go. If you cut up all of your cucumbers, they're ready to go. If you cut up your your celery, whatever you have, it's ready to go. Even if you just did like one of those things, then it's ready to go. Right? So it's little time-saving things. Trying to go from 0 to 100 never works. We say this all the time. It's one step. You're going from 0 to 1. 0 to 1. Make one extra meal. Prep one extra dinner. Make it and put it in the freezer. Whatever you have to do. It's not rocket science, right? Like think about what your plan is. What do I want to make? Am I going to make pasta this week? Am I going to make rice? Am I going to make, quinoa? Great. Make double. That's it. Am I going to cook chicken? Great. Just make double. Am I going to throw some stuff in the crock pot? Make double. And then throw it in a Ziploc bag and throw it in the freezer. Date it. Freezer burns a thing, right? So then you've got this backup for yourself. Happens every time. When I make chicken soup, I make 3, I make it big. So I've got 6 servings really. So I put 2 servings per bag. I have my 2 servings and then I put the others in a bag and I freeze the soup. Same with my sauce. If I'm making pasta sauce, or just a meat sauce, I make it so it's bigger. So then I've got 2 extra servings in the freezer. Because yes, there's times I don't feel like cooking. But we also don't have takeout. So, we do, but not really. But you want to avoid Like, this is the whole point, avoiding having to do the takeout. Like, you can make yourselves pizzas, buy the dough, roll it out, make pizzas, make two, right? Make them out. They're fun. And then you have one, like you eat one and then take the other one, cut it all up and put it in freezer bags so that you can pull it out as snacks. Throw it in the frying pan to heat it up. Or the air fryer. Air fryer, 3 minutes. Awesome. Right? So like I said, it's really about decreasing the mental load in order to boost your energy, in order to stay consistent in the things that you want to do. Okay. So if you've got, what are you, like, I'm going to ask this question. You guys can post it in the comments below. What are some of the tips that you do or tricks that you do? Post them in the comments below so that we can help everybody else in this community, so that everybody's got something that they've, learned. Or if you have a favorite meal, post it in the comments below so that others can use your suggestions. Because when people are starting, it's very difficult to stay on task. So if you've got a put a note, I love a good post-it. I love a good post-it. Put it on the fridge. Tuesday, we're going to double cook. Thursday, we're going to add an extra side. Saturday, I'm going to make 2 sides. One goes in the freezer. Dedicate where it needs to go. It's as simple as that. It doesn't have to be overwhelming. It doesn't have to be perfect. And if you screw it up, who cares? You're either eating it or freezing it. It doesn't matter. It's just like everything else. It's a learned process. But you need to get past, or you would like to try to get past, because nobody needs to do anything. Never. You would like to try to get past that mind block of it's so much extra work. Okay? It's a little extra work, but for a lot of extra time. And save yourself a lot of energy and give yourself a little downtime. So that's what it is. So guys, if you have any questions, I know we had Lisa in her live last week had a recipe book. I know I sent it out to Lori and I sent it out to Kath, batch cooking. So if you guys would like the copy of the PDF about batch cooking and how to, comment below batch and I will give that out to you. And just an FYI, if I don't have your email address, you might want to DM me that so then I can send it out to you, because it's too big to send in Messenger. So that will give you some ideas of how to get started with your batch cooking. Okay, guys, that's me for this week, and I'll see you in the next 2.